Welcome to Inside the Indians, your source for insider information on the Tribe. Stay with us as we bring you the latest about the players, managers, and people behind the scenes at Victory Field. Now here's your host, the longtime broadcast voice of the Indians, Howard Kellman.
Hi everybody, I'm Howard Kellman. Welcome to Inside the Indians. Today's show features manager Brian Esposito, shortstop Cole Tucker, and President and General Manager Randy Lewandowski. Back with Espo in a moment. As always, Espo, Brian Esposito, the manager of the Indianapolis Indians, our first guest on Inside the Indians. Espo, tell us a little bit about the pitching staff this year.
It's a good mix. We got some young starters. We have some guys that have some major league experience in the rotation as well. And then we have a good blend of some young up-and-coming relievers with a blend of some veteran guys that have done it before. They've pitched in some pretty big games in the big leagues, and we're going to see what we got when we run them all out there.
Well, you got JT Brubaker, who had a terrific year last year, and Mitch Keller, who's one of the best prospects in all of minor league baseball to start off.
Yeah, two really good right-handers. Big arms, both of them have big arms, good breaking ball stuff, and some pitchability now. You know, Brubaker, was here last year, so he learned. He went, he saw the ropes a little bit and how to, handle himself and how to pitch at this level. Next step is the progression to the big leagues. How he's going to go out attacking guys, and not so much Plan A, but how do I get to Plan B if I don't have Plan A that day? Mitch is just a touch behind. He struggled last year a little bit. He showed some signs of improvement from time to time. I think he's right where he needs to be in terms of his development. There's nothing better than going through some struggles at this level. We don't want to struggle the first time we get to the big leagues and have that be the only time we've ever struggled in our career. So I think it was good for him. I think he's going to learn from it. He'll be better for it.
That's a good point, because if a guy just sails through the minor leagues and all of a sudden he struggles in the big leagues, he may not be able to handle it and cope with it.
Exactly. Adversity is going to tell you a lot about, number one, the player is going to also tell you about what your growth opportunity looks like. How good can I get from what I'm staring at? So I think he's primed to put himself in a really good spot for this season.
I think whether it's pitching or hitting, you can't overemphasize enough how difficult these skills are and how hard it is to play this game.
It's a hard game, and the further you get from home plate or the pitcher's mound, it gets a lot easier. So there'll be a lot of people that will write articles or, evaluate players, and you start getting to that upper deck and the game gets real easy. As we know, it's hard. It's hard because there's life that happens, there's real things that go on. These players feel, a level of pressure to perform on a nightly basis. So there's some things that get in the way, but there are also some guys that after they figure out how to, just attack their day and what they need to do to get the job done, they're better off in the long run.
Is part of your job and part of your coaching staff's job to instill confidence in players?
I would say that's the majority of what our job is to. These guys are talented. They know what their skill set looks like. We help them, continue to grow with their skill sets. But a lot of it is just having these guys believe in themselves and understand what it takes to go out there on a nightly basis and just compete, And there's some things that get in the way of compete, whether it's fear, doubt, nerves, all these different things. And we just kind of help them learn how to embrace all these things and just go out and just be the best version of themselves they can be that night.
And when you're a position player, you got to play almost every day. And I've had guys tell me over the years that some guys could have been better players, but they couldn't handle the everyday aspect of it.
Yeah, sometimes it's not for everybody. Some people are better role players. Some guys are better coming off the bench. Their skill set suits them better, or just the way that the pressure of the game. It's a hard game, it really is. And I think the more of a position player that you go out there and try to help your team win that game, it could be on the bases, it could be on defense. Man, it could be in a dugout just by helping, point something out about a certain pitcher or tip something for a guy to have a better at bat. So if we all have that winning baseball mindset and we're going to help our club any way we possibly can, these guys are going to be in a good spot.
Espo, we're seeing at all levels, especially in the major league level, all these strikeouts. What are your thoughts on that?
I know that for a fact the pitching's getting pretty good. These guys are running the ball up there pretty good with some high velocities and then some good stuff off of it. There's also some players that have not sold out to a two-strike approach of putting balls in play. I think that with the amount of shifting that teams are doing right now, there's some holes that are going to be open when you get to two strikes. if we're trying to help our team win a ball game and getting on base is going to help that, I think there'll be some guys that might shorten up on the bat and look to put a ball in play the other way as opposed to just hitting into the teeth of the shift. So we'll see how it goes. You know, things come in cycles, things, you know, change. This game is always changing. So I'm excited to see what is going to happen this season.
You got these guys throwing 98, 99. When it gets above 95, I mean, hitters can adjust, but once it gets above 95, it can be difficult.
Yeah, it gets a little hairy at that point in time, especially the way these guys are starting to pitch at the top of the zone. You know, it's firm. You know, back in the day, you know, velocity 95, you know, there was one or two guys that were doing it, but it seems to be, you know, your entire bullpen and even some guys in your rotation that are bringing that kind of velocity. So it's just a matter of just preparing differently. You know, we train a little bit different now to match up to this velocity. So you'll see a lot of hitters that handle this plus velocity with ease at this point, just because the way that teams are training, you know, the standard traditional way of taking BP is starting to, you know, slide out the back door a little bit, and guys are starting to train more to the truth of what the game is going to present to them.
You were talking about the shifts, and one of the things that's amazing is a team will be up by 2 runs in the 9th inning. You see it all the time. It could be even more than 2 runs, but have a multi-run lead. And a leadoff guy's job is to get on base any way possible, get that potential tying run to the plate, and they're still shifting. And guys don't even try to make an adjustment sometimes.
Yeah, I think that you will start to see there'll be more guys that have some tactics to be unpredictable in beating these shifts. There's going to be more bunts that are going to be rolled out there because base runners are the only way that you're going to score runs, you know. You need to step on home plate in order to score runs. So in order to do that, you're going to start seeing some guys doing some different things to put themselves in a position to win games.
Now, how do you feel about the new rule, which will be in our league this year and the major leagues next year, where a relief pitcher must face 3 batters?
You know, this game is all about change. This world's all about change. So I'm excited to see how it plays out. There'll be some different strategies that different managers will use during the course of the game to either manipulate that rule or to work around it. So I'm excited to see what it brings to the table.
You know, you mentioned new rules and strategies, and I remember talking to you in spring training a year ago when I said, I don't understand. I'm not too thrilled about this runner at second base when we start an extra inning, and you mentioned the strategy, and I found that so true. That added an element of excitement and strategy starting extra inning games with a runner at second base.
Yeah, we worked through some things. You know, we thought about bunting guys over. We thought about walking different guys and giving up 1 run to play for, you know, multiple runs if you're at home. You know, we went through some things last year where we scored 1 run and won a game. We also played a game where we scored 10 runs on the road and beat Lehigh Valley last year. So the reality is, as a runner on second base and nobody out, if we're going to go up there and perform, we got to get jobs done regardless. So it's just another opportunity for us to get prepared for the big leagues.
Espo, as always, thank you so much. It's Brian Esposito on the home of the Indians, WHMB TV 40. Fine young shortstop of the Indianapolis Indians, Cole Tucker, our next guest on Inside the Indians. Cole, it's great to have you aboard.
Thank you. It's good to be here. It's been pretty sweet so far. I'm excited to get rolling.
Well, that's great. Tell us a little bit about your background, because you signed out of high school.
Yeah, I just signed out of high school out of Mountain Point in Phoenix, Arizona in 2014. The Pirates picked me, and it was a great opportunity, and I was excited to get my minor league career getting rolling, and I'm excited to continue that as I get close to the big leagues, and what better place to be than here.
Coming from a warm weather climate, did you play baseball year round?
Yeah, year round, nonstop out in Arizona. I mean, it's a hotbed for baseball growing up, so this weather isn't really my speed, but I'm getting used to it. This is a sweet day. It's the weather's been nice, just kind of getting used to it, getting acclimated.
And you mentioned getting used to it, and one of the things you had to get used to in pro ball is the humidity, which you don't have out in Arizona.
Yeah, way different. I mean, playing in West Virginia and in Bradenton, Florida, and Altoona, Pennsylvania. I mean, you go through some muggy spots, but I mean, this is a pretty good setup. So I'm excited about this summer.
Now, you're a switch hitter. Please tell us the story behind you becoming a switch hitter.
Yeah, it's kind of just a whatever story. I mean, in high school, I really admired Jose Reyes, who was the shortstop for the New York Mets at the time, and me and my dad were just kind of messing around in the cage in the backyard, and I was like, maybe I'll start hitting right-handed, and just did it and had some success with it. And it's obviously a work in progress, as anything is, but started doing it when I was about 15, 16 years old.
Now, you mentioned maybe I'll start hitting right-handed, so you're a natural left-hand hitter?
Naturally lefty, which is cool because I get the bulk of my at-bats from the left-hand side, so I'm most of the time hitting my natural side, but I definitely have to switch over to righty a lot, but for the most part, I'm hitting lefty.
So in spring training, do you have to spend extra time getting ready from both sides of the plate?
Yeah, in spring training, during the season, during the off season, I mean, there's a ton of work that goes into it just because you have to have more work than everyone else. You have to put more work in. So it's kind of a headache sometimes. It's like babysitting a pair of twins, you know. Neither's happy at the same time. It's a work in progress for sure.
Are you a different hitter or the same hitter from each side?
I'm pretty similar from both sides. I think I can hit the ball further right-handed, but I think I hit the ball more often left-handed.
Some guys will be low ball hitters left, high ball hitters right. Some guys are the same.
Yeah, I like the ball up righty and I like it down lefty for the most part. So yeah, I kind of fit that mold.
Let's talk about your base running and your speed, because you've stolen a lot of bases.
Yeah. It's definitely a part of my game. I think last year I stole 35, 40-ish. I think the year before that I had like 45, 50. It's a part of my game. It works on both sides of the ball at shortstop. Obviously, being long and rangy, it works to my benefit and helps me make some rangy plays in the hole. But yeah, I love getting on base and stealing bases and scoring runs. That's ultimately what it's all about, getting out there and scoring more runs than the other team. So if I can do that with my legs, it's just another benefit to my game.
That also can distract and upset the pitcher.
Yeah, absolutely. So Key Bryan and Will Craig hitting behind me, if I can distract the pitcher as much as I can't get their attention off of them and on me, it's going to get them more heaters, it's going to get more pitches up in the zone. So if I can do that to help them out and ultimately help the team, I'm all for it.
When I think of someone stealing bases, I think of raw speed, but I also think of someone who can study pitchers and learn and really become a good base stealer and add to his skills with that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm fast, but I'm not Ricky Henderson. You know, there's definitely some thought and some studying that goes into it, just knowing pitchers, knowing counts, knowing catchers, knowing tendencies, and picking up tips. So I've been learning a lot along the way about how to be a pest over there at first base and at second base, and it's fun. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it, and it's nonstop. It's always changing.
We've been told about your great leadership skills, and you seem like you're having fun playing the game.
Yeah, definitely, always. I mean, I'm out here playing in front of people, doing what I love, playing a sport, and the leadership thing and being the glue guy and all that, that's just something that kind of comes naturally to me. I've never been that guy who's the rah-rah, get up in front of the room and talk a bunch guy and be like super forceful, but I just love bringing people together, and with my line of work, I get to do that through baseball. So it's a really cool thing, and I love my job.
Well, it's absolutely wonderful, and if there's one guy in the diamond you'd like to see that way, it's the shortstop.
Yeah. And I grew up admiring Derek Jeter, you know, and guys like that, and Jose Reyes, guys that who just always seem to be right in the thick of everything and bringing people together. So, and Troy Tulowitzki, guys like that. So I've always kind of looked up to those guys and tried to model my game and how I carry myself after them.
Cole, great to have you aboard. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
That's Cole Tucker on the home of the Indians, WHMB TV 40. Lewandowski, President and General Manager of the Indianapolis Indians, our next guest. Randy, always great to see you, and please tell us about the off-season at Victory Field.
Well, as always, it's busy. I think that's one of the most popular questions that we get is, so what do you do in the off-season? This year, it's really been a lot of behind-the-scenes work. We've updated and upgraded our ticketing system, and then all the other software components that go with it, from our CRM, email marketing, lots of functions that I think our fans will notice a little bit outward facing, but really it's been an internal project. It's been a big undertaking, so anytime you change your major software programs, it's something that takes a lot of coordination amongst our staff. We've done a great job with it, and we're ready to roll for opening day.
Well, the winter before this and the winter before that, those two winters, there were major improvements made.
Yeah, we've done a lot of things physically, I think, to the ballpark, both audio and video-wise. 2 years ago, last year, we had the suite renovation. Again, this year, more of an internal process, but we're always trying to update our processes, the ballpark, how we operate. Competition's fierce in the market. And we also make sure we're trying to keep Victory Field at the forefront.
And it looks like we have some really good young players on this team.
Well, yeah, certainly on the baseball side of things, that's what most folks want to talk about. And our infield looks really strong. A lot of prospects as you work your way around the horn with Will Craig at first. Kevin Kramer back at second, who had a phenomenal rookie year in AAA last year. Cole Tucker, I think a lot of folks think could be the leader of this club. Brian Hayes at third base. couple outfielders in Jason Martin and Brian Reynolds. Pitching staff is loaded with Mitch Keller and JT Brubaker. So I've heard the Pirates say that this will be the most prospect-laden and talented team that they've put in Indianapolis in our 14 years together.
Well, tell us about the relationship between the Indianapolis Indians and Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, as I mentioned, it started in '05, and I don't know where that fits in, the tenure across minor league baseball, but it's been a long run with the Pirates. It's been a very good run. We've had competitive ball clubs. They're very easy to work with. Both Frank Coonley, their president, Neil Huntington, their general manager, Larry Broadway is their director of minor league operations. So I think we've had a very good relationship, and we certainly hope that they feel the same way.
And those agreements can always be extended at any time in 2- and 4-year increments.
They can. We're signed through 2020. There's been no discussions beyond that, but we're looking at certainly at a minimum of 2 more years with the Pirates. Certainly think that might continue down the road. But yeah, it's synced up every 2 and 4 years, and there's some bigger business in minor league baseball and Major League Baseball with the overarching agreement. We're waiting to see how that plays out, and then we'll look forward beyond 2020.
You mentioned that overarching agreement. Please tell us about that.
Certainly, there's an agreement between Major League Baseball and minor league baseball. It's called the PBA, or the Professional Baseball Agreement. And the folks in the minor league baseball office in St. Pete and the folks in the commissioner's office in New York have begun discussions on that overarching contract. And by all accounts, things have been going well, but it's a part of the business that happens every 5 or 10 years, however long the length of the contract is. And once that gets settled, that just gives us some certainty, though there's not any reason for concern, but just moving forward.
You have at times league meetings, and there are also minor league baseball meetings.
Yeah, I think it's like any other industry where you've got conventions, you've got league meetings, industry meetings. It's about growing the game, growing the business, best practices, just anything that you can do to make your business better, both on the field, off the field, marketing, administratively. We always want to learn from other people. There's a lot of smart people in the business, and that's what a lot of that stuff is.
Everybody who sees this ballpark, everybody praises it, how beautiful it looks. It's a tribute to you and the staff. Tell us about how you've been able to maintain the ballpark, which will be 23 years old in July.
Well, I think we put a lot of time and effort and money into it, to be candid. There's a labor of love from everybody on our staff, from our field ops to our facilities to our stadium ops. That's on the physical side of things. But really, I think our fans have taken to that. They take great care of it when they're here. It is hard to believe it's going to be 23 years old. We get a lot of comments that people can't believe that. And that's probably the greatest comment that I think we can get from our fans. And I call it a comment. It's a compliment that we take great care of the facility. It's really what we build our marketing and everything that we're about is Victory Field. And we take great pride and care in it. And again, like I said, it's a labor of love, and it's something that again, we just really want to put our best foot forward on it.
Tell us a little bit about the Indianapolis Indians front office staff.
Well, it all starts with our staff. We try to operate at a very high level. We push one another. Again, we're led by our day-to-day group. Joel Zawacki is an assistant GM on corporate sales and marketing. Matt Gay on tickets and operations. They really set the tone. We've got a great group of directors that really lead each and every one of our departments. And then again, we've always had great support from our board of directors and from the Schumacher family. Cal Burleson is a senior VP. Great experience from that group. And really, we just think that we're all on the same page. And when we're all pulling on the same rope, we think we can accomplish a lot of great things, and we're looking forward to that this year.
And we also hire a number of interns each year.
We do. It helps us, I think, breathe new life into us. When they start in January, we know the season is not too far away. They really get involved into our operation. It's how I got started. It's a great door opener for a lot of young folks that want to get into the business of sports, and we treat that seriously, and we try to hire as many of our good young interns that we can into our entry-level jobs. Most
of the people in the front office and people who want to get into the business of sports love sports, but what they have to realize is when they get a job in the front office, that job may not have anything to do with the game itself.
Well, and most of them don't, especially in the minor league level, because we're not really dealing with player development and player operations. Yeah, I think that was an eye-opener for me, is that I started in our ticket office, and I'd rarely see a pitch of the game. I mean, you're dealing with fans and customer service and ticket sales and things of that nature. And I think that is a bit of an eye-opener to some of the young folks, but you need to get into, I think the lifestyle of it, you understand the event world, that's really what we are, and we're open 70 times a year, and it's really about customer service is really what our focus ends up being, and baseball is our product, and you need to love the game, but you're not necessarily going to get to enjoy a lot of the games because you're working.
Your son Sam is a pitcher.
He's a pitcher. He's a senior at high school up at Guerin Catholic, and we're hoping that they're going to get off to a good start this year and sneak up on some people.
Yeah, they'll be playing in the Victory Field Classic.
They will. They'll be going to be playing Greenwood down here on Friday, April 26th. We also have Avon and Southport playing in that Classic. We're also going to host the IHSA State Finals once again, and then also the Marion County Championship and the City Championship. So we really like to get involved with amateur baseball as well. We've got IU playing Ball State out here, Anderson University playing Wabash College. So really we think we're the best facility for baseball in Central Indiana, and we want to open up the doors to various levels.
Well said. Thank you, Randy, and keep up the outstanding work.
Thank you, Howard. Appreciate it.
That's Randy Lewandowski. We'll have more on the home of the Indians, WHMB TV 40. Thanks to our guests, Brian Esposito, Cole Tucker, and Randy Lewandowski. See you next week on Inside the Indians.